Hi, this is Bill Light with Solem Enterprises, and this is Overcoming Analysis Paralysis. In this module on cardiovascular studies, we're going to examine some of the primary cardiovascular and lipid studies and how we can use those to help better analyze our patients. So as with all the other modules in this series, we're going to help to try to focus on just cardiovascular studies, but of course we're going to spill into some of the other areas. But with these and the other modules in this series, hopefully we'll give you a better way to try to incorporate how we do analysis of some of the numbers and the assessments and the procedures to better hone your skills. Use your clinical judgment to better reach and care for your patients. All right, so as we start in through, let's first talk about coronary artery disease. So there's lots of risk factors for coronary artery disease. So one of the big ones is diet, right? So what we eat, right? We take in a lot of terrible things. And several of the other modules, we've talked about some of the various ways that our diet and our nutrition can play havoc with our systems, where our coronary system is no different, right? So we'll get into the specifics of how our diet does it, but our diet is a big risk factor. Other one, alcohol. Alcohol is a big risk factor. It impairs a lot of our ability to protect and to rejuvenate our cardiovascular system. Another one is our genetics. One we can't really control very well. A lot about our genetics predisposes us to different aspects, to stiffening of our walls, to dysfunctional valves, to all kinds of other problems here. And then hypertension, other things for decrease or increased stresses on our system, hypertension being one of the primary risk factors. And then smoking. And as we take all those risk factors together, we're going to see that obviously some we can control and some we can't. So we can't change the non-modifiables, right? We're not going to just change our genetics, right? So obviously we're going to focus on all the stuff we can modify. And therefore, we know all those, right? Changing our diet, changing our lipids, changing our alcohol intake, our exercise, all of those. We've heard it a million times. So let's kind of start here and work our way down. So first, let's talk about lipids. So when we're talking about lipid panels, there's several things we're going to incorporate into lipids. So first, cholesterols as well as triglycerides. So let's talk a little bit about how those fit in and how they play their roles. So remember, cholesterols in general, they're actually super important. They're vital substances. They're actually the primary builder we use in all kinds of things. Hormones are one of the key things that we're going to use cholesterols for. Sex hormones as well as many of our other hormone functions. Our messengers, cell walls are constructed, our phospholipid membranes in our cells. There's many, many, many things. Construction, vitamin D is one of the primary, but other vitamins we use. Just lots and lots of things we use cholesterols are vital in their production. So it's super important that we have cholesterol in our body. But guess what? Our liver makes all we need. A healthy liver will make all we need. The average adult needs somewhere around 1 gram of cholesterol each day, and our liver makes that all on its own. Doesn't need it. But the average American takes almost 1/3 of that in their diet, almost, give or take, right? Above and beyond what we already make. So that's kind of a problem. We generally have far more cholesterol in our system than we actually need. So that's part of what we have. We're always combating excess cholesterols. So there's one of the things. So other thing to remember, though, is cholesterol comes from animal products, not from plant products. So when we're looking at our diet, remembering it's that excess animal fats, that's the primary source we're going to get our cholesterols. Remember again, though, cholesterol is not all bad. It's not all the devil, right? But too much can be too much, right? So there we go. All right. So as we're looking at the way cholesterols work, so we have cholesterols as those building blocks, and then triglycerides. Triglycerides are the energy source, the way we store fats, and we burn that for energy. So let's talk about how those two are going to work together. So first, those cholesterols. So let's talk about our high-density lipoproteins and our low densities, okay? So if we look at our low density lipoproteins, we can kind of think of those as the bad lipids, right? Our bad cholesterols. Because so they're those demon cholesterols that they run around and they're the scourges, and they get themselves plugged up in our vessels, and they form up as plaques and clog up our vessels, leading to blocked arteries, leading to other injuries and damage and badness, right? So they end up plugging up our periphery. So low density lipoproteins, they migrate themselves out into our periphery, out away into our vessels. But high density lipoproteins, or HDLs, they're our good cholesterols, and they're our scavengers or our cleaners, and they try to go out and grab the other cholesterols and bring them back towards our liver. So they bring things towards our liver to be reprocessed, to be metabolized into good things. So that's kind of how it works. The low density, they're debris and junk, and they land out in the periphery. They move out into debris and clog things, and high density brings them back towards the core and cleans it up. They're like our street sweepers, and they clean it up and get them reprocessed. So that's the good thing. Now, we worry about having too much low density, right? You've heard that before, that too much bad cholesterol is bad. But not enough high density lipoproteins, not enough good cholesterol, is actually just as bad for you, and actually just as high risk for heart disease as having too much bad cholesterol. So that's something to think of as well. So cutting out cholesterol actually isn't the best choice. It's getting the right cholesterols in is the better way to do it. So a smart diet rather than sort of an absolutist diet. That's the better way to do it.